Hello, my name is Viviana Lopez. I'm going to just do an overall video summary of the class in general of special issues in criminal justice. So basically we did from discussion questions to video journals to currently doing an essay, and that's just reading from the lectures that you post online, which in fact were very interesting. I had read most of them while we were doing discussion questions since we needed to cite it and put in our own opinion and then what from the book says. So I'm gonna start off with the discussion questions that overall, I had learned new things and just kept all. I'm gonna keep all these notes, like, for future references. So the natural phenomenon, this is what people have gone through, like the bad past, and they look into illegal acts in order to satisfy their, like they say, they get a high off committing murders, committing illegal acts. So this is what they must have gone through from the troubled past experiences that they received throughout life. So they end up like either taking it out. Let's say if something has happened with females or males, they end up taking it out on females, which they go ahead kill a bunch of females, like Ted Bundy, for instance, or they kill just regular anyone, like females, males, kids, or anything like that. From committing these crimes, they do get an adrenaline rush. So this is the out of the norms, which is the deviance of crime. That was for one of the discussion questions. The social control factors that can help these people would be either family, friends, government. This is in order to help them get back to their social norms and be a better person overall, and change their way of thinking in the future. Another discussion question that was in the past semester was labeling theory. I really like this one because when we had the discussion questions, I would comment back on other people and they'd be like, no, I don't believe this is right to label others, and some of them agreed with labeling people as like pedophiles, which in my opinion I would label people when it comes to pedophiles, because people have to have the warning sign whenever there's kids around them. Let's say your neighbor's a pedophile and you never knew. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad to be labeling them, but again, this is what they did in the past, and others deserve to know who lives next door or who's around them. So maybe the pedophiles can have, we go back to natural phenomenon, which they have gone through a bad past. As a kid, they could either gotten raped or just something in the past that happened to them as they were young, and they end up like wanting to have control over children, which in most cases that's what it is. These men or even women want to have over control of children. So they can change from bad past experiences. They can go to counseling, therapy, and just talk about their problems and what they've been through and get the help that they need. Another discussion question that we had gone over was differential association theory, and Edward Sutherland had said that criminals can make you follow criminal acts, which in my opinion I totally agree with him. Whoever you are, who you hang out with, I mean, if you're gonna be hanging out with people that just do drugs and break into cars, into houses, and you're obviously gonna fall under that, because they're gonna be pressuring you to do the same acts, and they're gonna want you to follow their ways, and either you can come out worse or you can end up dead or in prison. It's just plain and simple, always to hang out with people with a positive attitude, want a future, you can be with someone like that, but as long as they're trying to get the way that you're trying to get, which is to better yourself, then it's okay. The attitudes of development and importance of behavioral process as criminals learn skills and illegal activity. This also falls into that, because this is where the criminals end up finding out, oh, okay, like this is the house that has most of the things, we're gonna be going over here. They end up like looking at their surroundings. They know how to do illegal activities and stuff, or let's say they're gonna do a drug deal, and you know, they know their spots as they learn more. Another discussion question that we had is if law enforcement should be harsher to criminals. That, in my opinion, I believe, yeah, criminals should be treated somewhat differently from all of us, but not to be too harsh, because if you're gonna come at someone with a negative attitude and just not respect them at all, they're definitely not gonna respect you, and it could come out even worse because you're approaching to them with, you know, anger and hate, and they're gonna be like, okay, calm down, and they're gonna want to try to overcome you and just have more power over you, which is not a way to talk to people. Although you show respect, if they show you respect back. If they don't, well, then that's when you go in and you become more harsher toward them. But it's to a certain extent that you can do that. So I do believe that when approaching in a negative way, it can only make things worse. And show respect and you can get it back as well. Another discussion question we did was problem-oriented policing, which this is addressing problems in a detailed and specific way. It encourages prevention of crime, and others that want to, you know, fall under that and want to go ahead and do criminal activity, this can prevent them. And from the chapter, I did quote that it was from the New York's Gogan. They ended up saying that, talking about problem-oriented policing, and they have different tools in order to, you know, look for certain like areas that have more crime. And that's it for the discussion questions. I overall learned pretty much a lot from doing discussion questions by like doing my research on the internet and doing my research on the book, basically the pages that you put up, and also as well as hearing other people's opinions, which is a great idea because sometimes people don't agree with you and you think, oh wow, okay, they have a better perspective than maybe I did, and now I want to go with agreeing with them than agreeing with myself. So it's really important to hear others' opinions and to see what they have to say. So for the videos, I did find this very helpful because it kind of helps me a little bit better with talking and looking and also reading notes and talking. So we did talk about the dark figure crime, which was in the first video. This is crime that had not been reported, which they're either small crimes, infractions, the lack of trust in police, which a lot of people do, or they're really scared to seek that others are going to seek revenge, which we don't want to get involved sometimes because, you know, you could either end up getting killed by snitching, or this could either be a drug deal that had gone wrong because you're the one that also committed the crime and you don't want to get involved with the police because then you're going to end up in prison as well. So that was the first video. It had asked if you think that they deserve punishment, which I do believe that they deserve punishment. Just either parole or getting help that they need, which is the counseling, because that could only help that person better themselves. Being in prison when it's overcrowded at the moment is not a good thing right now. We actually need to keep the more severe criminals, which murders, pedophiles, basically anyone who has committed a more serious crime should be locked up because we society fear them, and you know, we don't want them out of prison. So we also talked about moral panics, which are really bad in today's society because of the media. They either can say fake news or real news, and it still creates moral panic towards the community. One example that I had mentioned was Trump fighting with Korean nuclear war, which everyone panicked and no one felt safe. Like, we thought that we were going to get into war, and you know, by him saying remarks we just ended up thinking that, you know, we had to be close to our family because you never know what could happen. We also talked about gender and race inequality, that women are more lenient taken care of rather than men. Women are going to be treated a little bit with more respect rather than men, as well as racism towards whites, African Americans, and Hispanics, and other types of races. Hispanics and African Americans are usually the ones to get a bigger sentence rather than the whites, because they're going to want to get them the help, and they won't be in prison for a long time, rather than Hispanics and African Americans that can be in prison for a really long time or even receive the death penalty. So overall, this class has been really helpful towards my education. I had learned a lot of things that I pretty much didn't know. I heard, like I said, other opinions from people as well that made me look at things twice and made me realize, like, you know what, maybe I will go with what this person said because they're completely right. So as I had learned new material, I also want to continue learning more material about deviance and crime, the violation of social norms, and people can change within time. So that's all that is important. My final philosophy statement is that people can change. You never know, with the right help that they get, people can change. And my perspective of seeing things as I read all this pretty much kind of stayed the same, until it came up to the discussing questions, which did make me change my mind towards many things, because other people can have other ways of explaining things. So yeah, this is overall my video of the whole class. Thank you.